Hey guys, and welcome back to Regrexit, Brexit Britain, a country where the education minister can tell children to keep the hell out of politics. Shut up, do not get involved in politics. Politics is not for the likes of you. Who the hell do you think you are? Writing letters to the Prime Minister and telling the Prime Minister what you think. Politics is not for you. And furthermore, children should be seen and not heard. And beaten with a belt? Too far? Probably. And also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me, and a special thanks here to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all the messages, I will answer as many as I can, and I will like all the messages for definite. I have been very slack with that late, but I will get round to it and start liking a lot more messages. So, we have, I don't know if you've seen that Horizon story, yeah, the post office, where the post office system, where they had this new system called Horizon. Well, I say new system, it was a long time ago they put the system in, right? And then all of a sudden, the system started picking up that people, was coming up short, right? In the Caribbean, the shark money. Right, so people was coming up short, right, with their money, right, and so then the post office, obviously the post office is, they're ruthless when it comes down to it, yeah. They just take you straight to court, right. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, with the post office, it's the Queen's, and it's a private company now, but still, it's the Queen's money. Right, so therefore, yeah, you can't really be messing with the post office money. So they just take you straight. Right, there's no if or buts. Right, there's nothing. Right, there's no. And some people, a lot of these people, yeah, they remortgage their houses and that thing. I was putting in like 36 grand, 36 bags. I was putting in, right, to try and clear their names. You know what I mean, right? But obviously, it was something that would keep happening, and all of these people, they was all baffled as to how comes they owe the post office 30, 40, 50 grand, right? So now, right, as I say, the post office, they was just taking randomly all of them, everyone who got caught up in this, they literally just took them all, because I think there's over 500 of them. Some of them who've even died now. That's how much of them there was, right? But a lot of them got jail sentences, right? And all down to this Horizon program that had a lot of glitches and bugs and all those type of things in it, right? So that's what the problem was, right? But you know something, yeah, the post office knew, right, from long before, right? The post office knew a long time ago, right? I'm sure the post office knew at least 7 or 8 years, right, before, right, before they started saying, well, and then all of a sudden, I think it was challenged. It was challenged somewhere, and then it was found to be that this computer system is what the actual problem was. But by this time, yeah, a lot of these people have been sent to prison, right, in their local communities. Yeah, they was like vilified completely in their local. Remember, the postmaster, right? Is always really well known in the local community. Right, really, really well known, especially like more so back, further back in the day, right? The postmaster would have really, right? So, so a lot of these you are talking about, a lot of these was from like, I think probably the early 2000s. So you probably be going back maybe even some of the late 90s. I don't know when they brought this new system in, right? But that's how far you're going back. So post office was a lot, it was used a lot more at that stage, right? So everyone would have known the local postmaster, and so they was just vilified, right? And as I said, a lot of them went to prison. So a lot of them would have lost their houses. I believe some of them even ended up homeless and all those type of things. So but as I said, the post office knew that something was going on, right? At least like a few years into it. Right, and I'm sure we're about 15 years or so down the line. So we are well, right. So we might even be 15, 20 years, right. That this whole thing, and I think it's like 2019 was when they actually got the verdict to say, actually it's the computer system. These people, right, who before this time, right, had never committed a criminal offence. None of them had. Because remember, they're all postmasters. So it's a very stringent system that you have to go through to be a postmaster. So none of them, right, had any criminal records, right? So the post office, as I said, the post office should have really, come on top of this a lot earlier, right? But you see now, what's going to happen now, right, is they've got to compensate 500 and something postmasters, right? And there's probably going to be even more, right? That they've got to compensate, right? Which is probably going to come to well over £1 billion, probably close, might even come close, depending on how much of them there is, might even come closer to 2 billion. Right? But it's going to come to one hell of a lot of money, right? And obviously, the post office, which is a private company, they won't have that money. So who do you think is going to pay that? I'll give you one guess. That'll be you and I as the taxpayer. We're going to pay that for the private company. This might have happened. This might have happened before they bought the company, but what the hell's that got to do with us? That's got nothing to do with us. You own that shit now, right? So whatever the case is, they should have to pay it, but they won't. They won't. Because this is what happened. You see, it's the same thing with the energy companies, right? A lot of the energy companies, a lot of the people who had money, on hold with the energy companies, have lost that money. A lot of them have lost it, right? Because the people who owned the energy companies, they was allowed to buy like Bentleys and yachts, right, while they're running the energy company. But the thing is, they was just allowed to use the money randomly. They wasn't made to ring fence it. No, that doesn't happen. They're not made to ring fence that money at all, right? But I tell you this, right? If you rent a room or a house or a flat to somebody, right, and you take a deposit off of that person. Remember, you as an individual, you take a deposit off of that person, right? If you don't put that money, right, in a special rent account, because that's what you have to do as a landlord, you have to have a rent account, right? So where you hold deposits, right? So you have to hold that deposit in that account, right? Now, okay, it might be a case where you don't hold it in an account, right? But when a person wants to deposit back, you have to give it to them, right? Now, if it turns out, right, that the person asked back for the deposit, right, and you don't want to give it to them, and then the person takes you to court, right? Now you have got to show the court, right, your deposit account. They need to see that deposit account, so where all your deposits go, right, or you're straight out of there. Right? Well, obviously, if you're just going to give the person back their deposit, then you don't have to go through none of that. But the laws are set up. That's how the laws are set up. So you see, when you've got energy companies, right, and they can just say, well, actually, none of our money is ring fenced, so we can just do what we want with it. But whatever money you send in, right, and if that company goes bankrupt or whatever, I mean, the money's that money's not ring fenced. Obviously now, if the government had owned the energy companies, that wouldn't happen, because your money would still be there. It wouldn't be anywhere else. It wouldn't be in the pockets of shareholders, or right paid for by some fancy yacht. But your money would still be right there. But this is how we live in this country. We prefer everything to be sold off. Kind of stupid, but that's what we want to do, right? Because you know why? Because we, right, are Great Britain, right, and we are the only country, right, to ever bring economic sanctions upon itself. And I tell you something, right? That I believe is a massive claim to fame, because nobody else in the world would ever do that. That's like a move that some like Pele would pull off, and you think, you know what? Nobody else could do that. Maradona couldn't do that. Wayne Rooney couldn't do that. That's all the other countries are looking at, thinking, they're just like. So we have to wonder what's going on in Russia. Whether or not, President Putin has been playing one big game. Right? Because apparently now Putin's pulling some troops back, right? But you know, all we've seen so far, yeah, is Russia, right, playing war games, right, within their own borders, right, and that seems to be the message, right, that Putin is saying. Putin's just saying, you know what, actually, we're just doing exercise within our own borders, right? But somehow, right, the world, right, seems to have got the wrong impression. Right? So you've got all of these world leaders running over to Russia, right, kissing Vladimir Putin's feet. And Vladimir Putin, right, has got his big ass marble table there, right, enjoying just being on the world stage. Liz Truss going and making a complete klutz of herself. I spoke to Tom Solbrook the other night, right, on the radio, right, and he said to me that because obviously he was an advisor to Theresa May, so he said to me, well, I found Liz Truss quite an impressive woman when I was in like cabinet meetings with her and the Prime Minister. I said to him, what? I said, are you serious? You found Liz Truss, right, as a competent person? I said, listen, are you serious? I said, this is the exact problem in this country, right? And he said to me, well, you know what the thing is, right? He said, you've always thought. He said to me, because obviously this was the time when she got called a dummy. So I said, well, you've always thought that about her anyway. I said, well, look, here's the problem, right, with your argument right there, right, is that, yeah, I did think that. And when she proves it, right, I'm not allowed to say. I'm not allowed to say, well, look, Sergei Ledrov has just called the woman a dummy on right there. And the man, right, was so annoyed that how stupid this woman was, yeah, that he walked out of the press conference, right? But because I can't have an opinion on that, right, because I thought that in the first place. I say, well, I don't understand, right, why it is, right, when these people, right, do exactly what we know they're going to do. Because we know how stupid someone like Liz Truss is. The woman, she's pencil neck Liz Truss, right? She's a fool, right? The woman has absolutely not one piece of common sense. Right, I'm saying to this guy, listen, you know what, yeah? She is the person who went over there and made a complete fool of herself by not knowing her brief. Right? But somehow, right, people from the left, oh, well, you know what, you didn't like her in the first place, so you would say that. So, well, give me a break. What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to say now, all of a sudden, am I supposed to say now, you know what, yeah? Just get a couple of flags behind me. Right, and say, yeah, well, you know what, yeah, Liz Truss, yeah. These people are in Europe just making fools of themselves now. Just making fools of themselves, right? Because it's easy to go to someone and say to say to people, you know what, yeah, if Putin comes, right, we'll give money, we'll give arms, we'll give weapons, right? It's easy to say those things, and people say, yeah, come enter, yes, you're my best friend. Go and get some trade. Go and get the trade deals. Go and get the trade deals with them, right? I don't understand yet why Britain feels it needs to look strong around the world in this way, right? To be this global Britain, but trade-wise, it can't do that. Trade-wise, right? It's costing us 3 times the amount to deal with the EU. So trade-wise, they can't do that. Because trade-wise, the same people that Liz Truss and Boris Johnson's flying to see all this week, right? All the EU foreign ministers and all the EU prime ministers and presidents or whatever, right? They're going to go and see this week, right? But you say, well, why? Right? As Russia have said, right? They're just doing manoeuvres within their own borders, and you've got to remember, yeah, that Russia has got more troops than you can shake a stick at. We haven't. Yeah, we've got under 90,000. Right? They've got more troops than you could actually shake a stick at. Right? So when he wants to put his troops on manoeuvres, and if he wants to do it, as long as he's doing it within his own borders. And now it looks like, yeah, that because I've heard this morning that some troops have been pulled back. Right, not pulled back. Well, he's just said, these troops have been, they've been just returned to their barracks. right? So, you know, I'm wondering whether or not Vladimir Putin's just going to say now, you know what, just get all the troops back in the barracks. You know, we was just out on exercises. I don't know why these people was getting like that, because now obviously he looks, you know, to his people, you know, that's the poor people in Russia, right? He looks very strong to all the poor people in Russia. Because, you know, these guys over here saying, well, you know what, yeah, there'll be no Russian children going to schools or nothing like that in this country, right? And, you know, but if they was to take away all the Russian money from the Conservatives, the Conservative Party would probably fall to pieces. But you've got people paying big money to play Boris Johnson in tennis and things like this. I mean, or to play chess with this one, or to play a game of football against this one. Right? You know, you've got Russians. The Russians and the Conservatives are so tied up with money, it's unbelievable. Right? You know, they got more Russian money than probably Putin has got. Wrapped around the Tory party. So, you know, don't be fooled by these people, because the truth is, yeah, the Tories are wrapped up with them anyway, because it's all big money. And you know what the Tories are like? When there's big money involved, the Tories are there. But anyway, let's speak about some Brexit, because I've already gone over my time. It seems that Jacob Rees-Mogg, yeah, has said that any countries that we do trade deals with, yeah, that Britain is prepared to accept all of their rules and all of their regulations. Okay, but you do know that that's what all you Brexiters was fighting against, because you didn't want to follow the rules from the, you know, evil, despotic EU. And now all of a sudden, if you do a deal with China, you're saying that they would say, well, whatever rules China bring, we're going to have to just say, well, okay, we'll go with that. And you see why this is, yeah? It's because of the weakness of this country. All right. So that's what this is about. They've really got no other choice. They've got no choice at all, right? Because they need these trade deals. Obviously, it's not going to do any good for trade, to be honest, but they still need these trade deals. Right? So now they've got the begging bowl out, just like they've got the begging bowl out to the EU all the time. They're begging. You know, remember they said how they're telling the EU, right? That, you know, basically we can do without you. So, but they're still paying 3 times the amount, right, to trade with the EU now. And they told us that we didn't, that we didn't need them. And now whatever country we do a trade deal with, you know, whatever rules they want. So freedom of movement, any country can just come to us and say, well, you know what, yeah, we're going to do a great deal with you. We need freedom of movement. Now, look, if you want to get more people in from the Commonwealth, right, I'm down with that. Right? I'm perfectly down with that. If that's what it takes, right? You know, so that's where we are, right? And then we've got like a lot of people complaining about parcels. Right? Parcels turning up, and then the person delivering the parcel, the courier, right, will stand there and say, yeah, you got to give me a couple of bucks, you got to give me some cash, right? Because you know what, even like parcels that are good now, because if they're under £45, they're not supposed to attract any VAT, but they are. You know, this is the thing, they are, because you see, it might be the case that inside the EU, right, things might be slightly different, but when you're outside, right, it's different rules, because you're like a third country. I don't know if I've said this before. I might have said this before, but that's what happens. You're a third country, so you have to follow different rules, and those rules say that, you know what, you go over there and wait, right? While everybody else from the EU you just breeze through and say, you British, you wait over there. That's what we signed up for. But I'm sure that everybody knew exactly what they was voting for. Now, I've gone well over my time. Anyway, guys, this is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Reeves. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.